Hi everyone, it is me, CoffeeStitcher, back for another fun-filled episode for you. This is episode 6. We've got several things on the menu, as it were. We've got, of course, the people that I've been watching recently. We've got Whip updates. Whip does stand for work in progress. And then we've got the August Whipgo plans. And I'll explain Whipgo when we get a little bit closer to that part of it. And then I've got my Felt Kit Parade Part 1. So for those of you who have been voting consistently, wanting to see these felt kits, congratulations. We're finally here. So I'm excited to show these to y'all. I know this may not be everybody's cup of tea, so it will be at the end of the video, so that if you're not interested, you certainly don't have to stick around, but I would really love it if you did, because I think they're really cool. So, set right down. Whew. So, grab your stitching, grab whatever it is you're wanting to do while you're watching our video, or watching our, like I'm multiple people. Good Lord, it's gonna be one of those nights. But, let's get going, shall we? Alright, so, a couple of people that I've watched recently, these are in addition to the people that I've been regularly watching. And I am going to botch the pronunciation of this because I botch it every single time I try to say it. But CoffeeStitcher, which is Hygge, was new to me, was recommended by someone who had seen her finish of the Emerald City pattern, and she did some very pretty things with it. Good old Stitchman Darcy, who I didn't realize, like, this is how out of things I have been. I didn't realize he had an Etsy shop, or that he was dyeing fabric, so I'm definitely looking forward to checking out his fabric here soon. He's always a blast to watch. He also is taking the incredibly brave plunge to try and make being Stitchman Darcy his full-time 100% gig, and I totally support that for him. So definitely, if you've not watched him, check him out. So highly recommend. Colorfully Crossed Stitched, whose videos I've been watching, just launched her own Etsy shop, same name, Colorfully Cross Stitched. She's British, so Colorfully has a U and 2 L's in it. So for our American friends, that's COLOURFULLY. And I'll make sure to at least link their FlossTube channels. I'll try to figure out how to grab their Etsy links and add them to it as well. And then Crafting Carlos was new to me as well. Just did his first video. I believe his pronouns are he, him. He hasn't done another one yet. I don't know what his Instagram handle is, but I enjoyed his first video. So that's who all I have been watching of late. And of course there is the running stitcher, Andrew, that I think everybody knows, we've got a lot of project sort of vibes in common. So I haven't mentioned him before. The running stitcher. So, yeah. So there we go. That is who I have been watching. Now then, in terms of what have I worked on, well, there's a short answer, which is stuff, and a long answer, which is what I'm going to show you all next. Actually, I'm going to set this over here, because that's going to lead us into the next part. So, last time, I think I talked about how I was trying to do adventure awaits as like a daily stitch between the time I got off work and dinner versus after dinner. And what I have discovered is that does not work for me. Now, if you don't watch Fickle Stitches, go watch Fickle Stitches, who just had their 3rd anniversary video, by the way. But in it, Kate and Cheryl discuss mid-year plans and how mid-year seems to be when people start figuring out if something they decided to try at the start of the year was going to work for them or not. And this is kind of the abandon ye plans, all ye who enter. So I thought I would give this a try because I've had luck in the past with having a daily project. But what I was finding was I would get, maybe 100, 150 stitches in before dinner. And then after dinner, it was a real struggle to focus on stitching when I switched over to the next project. And so I started trying to think about it like, what's going on here? Why is this not working? Because I've done this before. When I first started at Schwab, I had like a project before work and then what I worked on regularly. And when I worked at the bank, I had my lunchtime project. And I started thinking about it, and what I realized was the lunchtime project, I was doing it at work. I was leaving it at work. I was doing it for half an hour on my lunch break. When I first started at Schwab and we were fully remote, well, I was getting up at, 5 a.m. to be ready for work. So I was working on it then. And then I was doing something else at night. So there was a lengthy period of time between when I was working on it. But I've noticed with my regular rotation that if I finish a project, like if I hit its stitch goal like early in the day on Sunday, a lot of times I don't do shit the rest of Sunday. And I think what I figured out is trying to do a daily was running into the same thing. It was like I was hitting a finish goal, and then I was just sort of floating loosey-goosey, and it wasn't working for me. So, while Adventure Awaits is at a very good place, and it will be finished the next time it comes out. If not the next time, then certainly the time after it. It's not going to be a daily project like I had anticipated. But here's where it is. I'm not going to take it out of the hoop, although I probably should. I got Latin America done, and I got South America's icons done. So all that we have for Central/Latin America, the Mayan ruins, but I consider Mexico part of North America. Maybe I shouldn't, and I'm just uneducated about it, but that's kind of my thinking is Mexico is part of North America with Canada and us, and then everything south of Mexico is like Central Latin America, and then South America is its own. But it's got the statue of Jesus, it's got 2 trees, it's got a mountain, and it's got the Easter Island heads. So all that's left now is to do its outline. There are 2 fishes here, there is a boat over here, and then there's a little bit that makes up Antarctica over in here, and then it'll be done. So closing in on a finish on this one. So this is Adventure Awaits. It is by Caterpillar Cross Stitch, and I'm stitching it on mummy wraps from Ship's Manor with the called for DMC. Right. I'm just gonna set this here like that. Now then, the next thing I worked on, these are not in any particular order. I worked on Night Walked Down. So this one got called twice for Whipgo this time. More to come on Whipgo, I promise. This is on Demeter's Harvest. So the pattern is by the Blue Flower. And I didn't quite hit the full stitch goal, quite honestly, because this was I was needing to really start going across pages, and I thought, you know what, I'd really rather work down, finish the cat and the lady next, versus trying to do flowers and things. So I kind of got to a place where I was like, this is a good stop spot. So here's where we are. So I added that flower, that fleur, which is not how it's pronounced in French, and really I just sounded like the Swedish chef. That's actually amethyst and cherry bark from Gentle Arts, which I think is really a pretty combination. So there we have it. Night Walked Down. Right. Which, speaking of Swedish Chef, for those of you who are Star Trek fans, there's a very hilarious meme about the Borg assimilating the Swedish Chef, and it is chef's kiss brilliant. All right. Then I started Emerald City Sal by Owl Forest Embroidery. This was not on, I did not start it on either of the two colors I showed you last week. Instead, I am stitching it on Canary by Color and Cotton. It's on a 32 count even weave. Now, as some of you will recall, I did stitch this back in 2019 when it was an active sal. I kept up with it, one of the few sals I've ever managed to stay totally up to date with. And I basically did it as charted. I made minor tweaks here and there, but for the most part, as charted is what I did. This time, I am converting it to match up to the 1986, 1987, depending on where you lived, for those of us in the English-speaking portion of the world, 1987, anime TV series by Sinar/Panmedia. It was Azu no Mahutsukai. I probably botched that because I've never actually heard it said aloud by anybody, so I'm just guessing my best there. Known here, of course, as The Wonderful Wizard of Oz. One of my absolute favorite adaptations of the book and of the series as well, because it hits Wizard Land, Ozma, and Emerald City of Oz. I think I may have mentioned this all in the last video. So here is my start. Now, so the first part is Dorothy, Toto, the tornado, and the house. All right, so here's where we are. All right, so a couple of things. The house, now the windows and door outline, those are just one color. The wood of the house and the roof are actually two DMCs that I blended together because I wanted a specific color and could not find it. And one of the things, Jason X Stitches is really, really great with color theory and the science behind color. And he's had several videos where he talks about it. They're really cool to watch. So that was what I was trying to kind of go for here, was to come up with colors to make it match the series better. So that's what I did here. I did tweak, I added 2 windows and I moved the door over so that it would look like the house in the series. My Yellow Brick Road is going to be a little bit darker than I would have liked, simply because since I'm using a yellow fabric and I'm not going to have the luxury of grass like they do in the animated series, that's what I had to go with. So the tornado has some green-gray back stitches, or half stitches across it to give it some texture and some dimension. I wanted, and I just could not figure out a way to do it, I really wanted, in the series, from the outside, it's normal tornado color, like it's brown, and it's got sort of a highlighted gray-green going through it, which is what I was working on there. But when you're inside the tornado, it's like lime green and hot purple. Like, it's very 80s neon, and I absolutely love that, and I tried to figure out how I could incorporate that here, and it just didn't work. You'll probably notice the witch feet are purple socks with little brown, like, elf-style shoes. In the series, the shoes, when they're on both the Witch of the East and then later when the Witch of the West gets one of them from Dorothy, that's how they look. So it's like the shoes change their appearance to match the person wearing or holding them. And then in the series, when the Witch of the East evaporates, she does so in this sort of colorful holographic smoke, which isn't really, looks better in person, that then turns into a bat and flies away. Inexplicable. They never come back to that. There's never any other witch that melts that way. It's just that one. So, I mean, that's really what happens in the book, too. I mean, you know. And then we've got Dorothy and Toto. I made Dorothy a little bit wider. She does wear these sort of gray stockings in the series. And then she has, they're little white Mary Janes that I added a little bit of blending filament to, because when she uses them or their magic enacts, they glow sort of a pink color, but otherwise they're just white. which I presume is meant to be silver, but they never refer to them as anything other than the magic shoes. So, and then Toto was bigger. I shrunk him down and did him over 1. And he's actually in a sort of dark gray blue, because in the series he's kind of a dark gray blue. So that's what I'm doing with my Emerald City Sal. This is hosted by Jen's Stitching Corner. She's planning to do it apart a month. I am just going to put it in my regular rotation and go with it from there. At least I say that now. I may end up just finishing out parts. I have done most of my design work up through part 2. So that's kind of ready to go. Which features the Witch of the North and the Scarecrow. So I'm having a lot of fun with this one, though, and I'm really, really pleased at how well it's turning out so far. So, yeah. All right. And then the current one on the hoop for working, or the Nurge, is Shining Star from SamSarah. And I worked on that a little this afternoon. I got the Fates. So I've got to do 750 stitches. I've done a little under 100 here. I don't think it'll finish me out. It'll definitely finish out, if the Fates allow and the 2 boxes there, probably start me up on the first verse. So I think one more rotation after this one and we'll have a finish. So we've got a couple of things that are coming up for finishes soon, which is exciting. Love finishes. All right, so that brings me to, so initially, when I decided that I was going to do Adventure Awaits as a daily, that meant I needed to bring something out of the rotation, and I've decided I'm going to work with 11 active whips right now, and I'm not going to bother undoing that. So I'm going to show you what both happens to be what it was going to replace, so the next one that's come out of the archives, as well as what incidentally ended up being one of next month's Whipgo picks. Now, Whipgo is started by Jessie Marie Does Stuff. It's basically like a bingo board, and you assign each square a, sort of stitch goal or something along those lines, and you can do it however you wish to do it. And then every month, she draws 2 numbers, and during that month, you work on those 2. And then if you get a blackout or you get a Whipgo or whatever you want, you set your own goals. I don't set my own prizes or rewards for myself because, let's face it, I'm just going to treat myself if I feel like it. But I do like it because it gives, even though I'm going to be guaranteed to touch something probably within a month, it gives it a little bit of love and attention. Because of the way I do it is every project gets 750 stitches. So whatever the Whipgo pick is, it's automatically 750. At least this year. I may up that next year, but we're going to see how I like 750 this year and determine from there. It used to be 500, not 5 stitches total. That would be silly. But because I have a tendency to, if I put projects on there, and if I finish it, then I have to go back and come up with something different. Or if I decide, I really don't like this project, well, now I've got to go back and find something different. Or I'll get lazy. But what I do instead is I pick people that I know, and I give them 1, sometimes 2 squares, and I assign them to it, and they get to pick my Whipgo, because I am not likely to disappoint my friends. And it works very well for me. And it's also kind of fun to see what people are going to pick, because sometimes you do end up with 2 people picking the same project. And sometimes they pick something that I would never have guessed would have been something they would pick. So this month, it was my friends Tiffany and Cheryl. Cheryl of Fickle Stitches. Tiffany does not have a floss tube, but we have been part of a ongoing chat that started in Magical Stitches the year of the Harry Potter series, and has continued on to this day. So Tiffany picked this next one, which is the one that came back into rotation, Inspiration by Rosewood Manor. So we'll get 750 stitches in on this one. So here's where it I just knocked its needle minder off. Oh dear. Well, that was not good. Oh, there it is. Hide attached to my iPad. Handy. I don't know where its other magnet is. Okay. We'll figure that out later. I'm going to put this and the needle in the bag, though, before I lose it. Oh, there's the magnet. Oh, no, that's actually the part of my stand. Never mind. Ignore me. Hi. So there's where I am on it. Ta-da! That's upside down. That's where I'm at on it. I'm messy tonight. Oh, there's the magnet. I found it. I found it! I don't know where the needle minder went in the bag. Okay, we'll just do that. We'll figure it out later. It'll be fine. Be fine. Be great. Be grand. Right. And then the other Whipgo pick, which was chosen by Cheryl, is going to be 750 on Meditation Garden by Jan Hicks, which I did work on Meditation Garden, and got its stitch count in. So I finished the water feature. Well, not the full water feature, but I got to the start of the water feature. I got the start of the little hedge maze, and I got the tree branch here going. I also got this little tiny bluebird. So this is on Bianchetto from Fortnite Fabrics. So using mostly the called for DMC. Inspiration, I'm using the called for Anchor. All right. So that takes me to the end of the cross-stitch projects that I worked on. So now we're going to segue into the felt stuff. Now, the felt project I'm currently working on, you may recall, is one called Holy Family, and it's a little nativity. The last time I brought this out, I had almost finished constructing the nativity itself, and it is fully assembled. That is just loose raffia. I will make that look better before this is done. But here it is, fully assembled. It does stand on its own, which is really impressive. I did do raffia for the straw on the top, because I thought it needed to be that instead of just felt. And then I finished the baby Jesus and his little manger. So here's his manger with some raffia inside. And here's the little baby Jesus, who kind of looks a little bit like he's in a roller coaster, but that's okay. I did add some holographic sequin stars to his halo to give it a little more bling. But there's the little baby Jesus. So he can sit inside the nativity or fall over. And then I am almost done with Mother Mary. So she is. I've got to embroider her sash and attach it, and then actually attach her head covering. I'm not sure what that's called. And then she's got her own halo. She has rice in the bottom of her, so she'll stand up. There's a fan. That's what happened there. I will not take this off because shape-wise, she looks very creepy. Like, she looks like, for those of us who remember playing Zelda Ocarina of Time in the Spirit Temple, the weird dead hand thing that has little zombie hands that come out and it walks around like this. She kind of looks like that. It's very creepy without her little head covering on. I'm a little worried that Joseph is going to have that same effect. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Definitely a piece where she should be viewed from the front and not the side. So, kind of the the two of them together now. That's what it looks like. I'm really enjoying this one. All right. So that is Holy Family. I did get a small bit of haul this week, or since then. I got, this is a new one, It is called Holiday Quilt Squares. This is a new this year kit. Plaid has an ambassador program that I'm a part of, that basically I get reward points for showing Plaid projects on my Instagram, and then I use those reward points to get myself more kits. So this is one of the ones that I cashed in my rewards points for. So very excited for it. And that brings me to the first round of felt kits. All right, so this is gonna have to be divided into parts. I'm really trying to keep this under an hour. Over an hour almost crashed my iPad. Like, it took me forever to get it not only moved onto the iPad, but to also get it edited and uploaded. Like, it did not go well last time, y'all. So we're gonna try and keep this one short, which means that next time we'll do the next round. So this one is going to be what I'm calling non-Christmas, but not Halloween, and literary or licensed characters. So, and these are in no particular order other than the licensed one. Literary ones are all in their own tub. So first up, we have from Merry Stockings, part of their Mantle series, the Easter Village, which it's a set of buildings, and it comes with the little dowel rods and stands so that they will stand upright. And then we've got a Merry Stockings Christmas ornament set called Merry Music, which is all musical instruments. And then we've got this older kit. This is a Titan Needlecraft. It is technically Christmas-ish, but it's bears and geese. This is a slightly different kit because the you get all the materials, but you actually have to cut out the pattern yourself. And the main reason I haven't tackled this one yet is I want to make photocopies of the pattern onto something firmer like a cardstock. And I just haven't been bothered to do that yet. And then these are 3 Bucilla ones that are non-Christmas, a little more generic themed. This one is a fall one called Pumpkin Patch Pear. They're meant to be like wall hangings. And then this one, which is Heartfelt Treasures, obviously Valentine's Day. And this one's a new one too. I think this is new for this year. No, it was new last year, like late last year. And then Bless This Nest, which is a wreath with bluebirds. And when it came, it was like completely jacked up pack. Like it was like completely open in the box. Like it was just badly handled. So I had to put it in a Ziploc bag. All right. Now, this next one, like I said, it is what I call my literary ones, and like licensed characters. So this one is going to be a mixture of some that are newer, more current kits, and some that are very vintage kits. And we're just going to go in the order of what's on top to what's on bottom. So first up is Hansel and Gretel. This is a 72 to 74-ish kit. It was one of the very first ones they did that was fairy tale themed. So you get Gretel, Hansel, and 2 candy canes. Then we've got, and I've got a duplicate of this one, Goldilocks and, it says Goldilocks and Friends. It's obviously Goldilocks and 3 bears. You'll notice on these, this is a similar mid-70s one. You'll notice that Bucilla likes to do their girls with blonde hair and red dresses. It, I think, probably was a cost-saving method. So you've got Mama Bear, Baby Bear, and Papa Bear. I have 2 of that one. All right, then this one is a Dimensions felt embroidery kit. It's the Night Before Christmas ornaments. So it's a set of 4 that each one on the back has part of the poem. And this is, I'm gonna guess, 80s? 1983. All right, then these kits are, they're partial kits is what they really are. So Bucilla likes to, a lot of the times when they do their ornaments, it'll be like a set of 4 or 6, but it's really only 3 ornaments just repeated. And that's what these are. So, these a friend split with me. So we've got Pooh and Piglet Stocking Surprise. These are from 2000. This one is Tigger and Eeyore Stocking Surprise. So, Tigger and Eeyore. There may be another one of these floating around in here too. And then this one is Pooh and Friends, and it's Pooh and Piglet, Pooh and Tigger, Pooh and Roo, or maybe that is Kanga. So Piglet, Tigger, Eeyore, and I think it is Kanga. No, it says Roo. It's never Rabbit though. But there they are. Right. Then we've got this lovely set. This is from Vogart. Vogart did all of the Sesame Street projects. This is from 1980. So it is set of 5. Bert, Ernie, Cookie Monster, Big Bird, and Oscar. I just love them. Right. Then this is the a reissue of the 2010 set of Christmas in Oz. It's the 4 Friends. It does not include the Emerald City, which was in the original 2010 release. So, but it's the 4 Friends. I have 2 of these. All right. This one is... Okay, I'm going to go a little bit out of order because I feel like we need to. Okay, so this is the original set, which is the one I've already stitched or sewn up. It's one of my, I keep buying this as a kid. It's a thing that I do. It's a compulsion. So obviously 4 Friends, y'all have seen me stitch them. And then in the 80s, they did a reissue of them. Very similar, but they're actually just a little teeny tiny bit shorter. Which I thought was interesting. But here they are. And Dorothy's her hair's much more yellow. The Scarecrow's got more hair. So they're a little different by comparison. So, all right. Then we've got this one, which is Christmas in Wonderland. A lot of the modern ornament kits will have a coordinating stocking and vice versa. So this does coordinate to the Christmas in Wonderland stocking. White Rabbit, teacups, the Mad Hatter's hat, the pocket watch, the drink me bottle, and the Cheshire Cat. Right. Then we've got... this set, which is the Bucilla Night Before Christmas. So it's Ma in her kerchief and Pa in his cap and the 2 children and the creature that's not stirring, not even a mouse. So set of 5 again. That one's from about 1978. This one is Neverland Christmas. The stocking is in here too. And it's Peter and Tinkerbell and accoutrement thereof. I actually think the hat is probably the same as the Alice in Wonderland hat. Just with a slightly smaller brim and without the 10/6. We've got Fairy Tale Princess, which is obviously Cinderella themed. There is one though that is specifically Cinderella. This one's from 2021. All right, this is the other Bucilla Goldilocks. You've seen that one already. All right, this one is Old Woman in the Shoe. This is actually a Sultana kit. Same thing, it was just like a scaled down line. So, I don't want to say scaled down, but think like, for cross stitchers, think like Mirabilla versus Nora Corbett, where the Nora Corbett ones are smaller. It's sort of the same thing. They're the same basic, like, almost exactly identical, but I do think they did use some slightly different materials, maybe. But Old Woman in the Shoe. This one is one that is from a Daisy Kingdom. This one's Bucilla 2022. It is a wall hanging, and it's called Blue Jean Teddy Bear. No sequins on this one, which is interesting, but this one is the official Cinderella one. It's called the Glass Slipper. I like it, and there's an stocking for it too. I like it because it's a person of color Cinderella. I don't like the fact that the glass slipper is gold. Although I guess technically if you're going off the Perot version, where it would be a slipper as pure as gold, cow as white as milk, cape as red as blood, the hair is yellow as gold, as pure as gold. But then her dress needs to be silver. So it is what it is. Another Wizard of Oz kit. This one is the vintage Three Little Kittens, and they do have their mittens in this one, although this one's about to lose hers. And then Mama Kitten, with their very rounded mice-like ears. And then here is, as I mentioned, the coordinating Cinderella stocking pattern, called Just the Glass Slipper. So there it is, and that's why I said it's the glass slipper, so, you know, it should be blue. And I will make it blue, or white, or something along those lines. Something that will appear more like glass than yellow. Then, we're almost done. Just got these left. Make a little bit of space for myself. All right. The Neverland Christmas stocking. So it's Peter in the window and Wendy asleep in the curtains. Very dramatical. This one is another Bucilla vintage one. It is Little Red Riding Hood, so Granny, the Wolf, and Little Red. Then we've got nursery rhymes. It is Mary and her little lamb, a little Jack Corner who sat in the corner, Humpty Dumpty, and Jack Be Nimble. We've got the Hey Diddle Diddle Mobile. So we've got our cat with the fiddle, the cow jumping over the moon, and the little dog laugh as the dish and the spoon run away. Oh, that really looks more like a plate than a spoon. Oh, no, that's the dish and that's the spoon. Whoo, boy. Here I was thinking that should be a fork. And then finally, the Walt Disney Snow White and the Seven Dwarves ornament kit. This one's by Paragon, which is a different company. They did a lot of licensed Disney ones. There are other ones out there. I haven't gotten those yet. And of the Bucilla, the literary ones, I am still missing Pinocchio. I am missing the Nutcracker Ballet. And I am missing their original Cinderella. All of those are from like the mid-late 70s. And I'm missing their Cinderella, so, but that's it. That's all I need to have the full collection. So if y'all are felt kit collectors out there and you wish to part with any of those three, please let me know. I do have active eBay searches, but I'm really weird. I refuse to spend more than about $30 on a vintage kit. 35 maybe if it's in really good shape or it's one I really want. Just because we're working with vintage materials that are kind of falling apart in some instances. So I don't want to spend that much. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm born with it. Maybe it's Maybelline. Who knows? Anyhow, that is Felt Kit Part 1. Next time we will probably tackle Halloween as well as one of the Christmas groupings, because I have my Christmases kind of broken up into like 4 different categories. So 1, maybe 2 of the Christmas groupings, but definitely Halloween. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you've got questions about the felt kits, please let me know. I am happy to break one apart and do like a special video showing you what you get in a current kit. I would love to do that, so just let me know. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. And I will see y'all next time, which will be in August, if you can believe that. I can't believe that, and it's almost August. I don't know why I can't believe it. That's how calendars and time works, but, you know. Anyhow, I will see you all next time. Bye.